Advance. This game was played in the European Club Cup. With the white pieces, we have Anish Giri facing off against Dmitrios, and this is going to be a really epic game. Here, the difference between their ratings is roughly 200 points. So here, let's see if Anish is able to go freely and maybe win this game, or it's going to be a challenge. So let's see what happens. Here, e4 was played by Anish, and now just comes e6. We have knight to c3, d5, and just d4. This is the queen's camera decline, and here after knight to f6, c captures was played, e captures, bishop to g5. And now just going for this bishop to e7. We have e3, h6 now, and here just bishop to h4, bishop to g4, attacking the queen, knight to f3, just developing castles, bishop to d3, and just c6 was played. We have queen to b3 now, just challenging that b7 pawn, and here just bishop captures on f3, g captures, queen to b6, asking for a trade, but just queen to c2 here. So definitely here, Anish is gonna enjoy the entirety of the g file to be able to just attack and maybe just get a win in this position. Here just knight bd7 was played, and you could choose to actually go for a very nice line in this position, which just starts with this queenside castle. And after rook f to e8, you play this rook h to g1, king to h8, and after this queen to d2, just c5. And after d caps on c5, you play this bishop caps on c5, knight to a4, now attacking the queen and the bishop at the same time. And after queen to e6, you play this knight caps on c5. And after this knight caps on c5, bishop to c2, the game goes on. Most likely here, Anish is a little bit better, but will he be able to convert this or not? That's a different question. But here after knight bd7, bishop to f5 was played, and now just comes rook f to e8, a queenside castle by Anish. So Anish is definitely in a mood for a fight. It just knight to f8, and now just comes rook h to g1, knight to h5 now, just challenging, just putting the knight on a square way it could not be attacked, and also asking for a trade between the bishops. Bishop to g3, not going for that trade, but you could go for this knight capture on g3, and that's exactly what was played. And any sane person in this position would go for this rook caps on g3, which should have been actually played. But here after king to h8, you will go king to b1, bishop to h4, and after this rook to h3, play bishop to f6, and even f4. After queen to b4, you play rook to g1, and here after b6 now, the game goes on with most likely white being the one better here. But after knight caps on g3, h caps on g3 was played, which is very odd because you wanted the g file to be able to attack. Here rook a to d8, and now just comes king to b1, bishop to b4, knight to e2, and just c5. Here in this position, we have d caps on c5, bishop captures, and here just going for this knight to f4, d4 now, and here after e4, d3 even, just pushing it all the way. But here we have knight caps on d3, and now just going for this bishop d3. The queen never moves. Obviously it is protected by the knight and the queen, so if they ever move, you will have a checkmate on the board. Obviously Anish is never going to fall for it. But here rook to d2, and now just comes g6, just pushing the bishop back, bishop to h3. All of this, if it was played after g5, it would have been really nice, because here after a3, you play bishop to g7, rook d to g1, and you're controlling the d5. Anish is definitely better. I mean, converting this, he could really convert this to a win. After a5, you could go for this knight to c5, and after rook captures, play h5. But here after bishop to f5, white is doing spectacularly well. But here after bishop to d4, rook g to e1 was played, and here just g6, pushing the bishop back, bishop to h3, and knight to h7. So going for the same moves in a different order. Here f4 now, we have knight to f6, and just e5, and pushing it all the way. Knight to d5 was played. Now that knight centralized is really a nice piece. Maybe you could go for a move like rook to c1 in this position and trying to take complete control over the c file. You cannot even play this because bishop is just guarding it. And here after this move like h5, you just play f5, trying to bust open the files against the king. And here after rook to c8, now you just go for queen to b3. With this push of the pawn here, you're not guarding that square anymore. So here just queen captures, a captures, rook caps on c1, rook captures, and after a5, you play rook to c4, attacking the bishop. Bishop moves, and the game goes on by it being obviously better. And you can see in all of these lines, Anish is the one who has the advantage to be able to try and push for a win, and also to be able to just crush your opponent. He's the one with the advantage, but he should be able to convert if he continues to build up the pressure. But here after knight to d5, queen to b3 was played, asking for a trade early on. Is this trade going to be helpful for white or not? Well, you could go for this trade, and I think maybe you would have certain advantage because with the queens off the board, there would be less chances to go for an attack. All the knight is placed, both knights are placed beautifully, but the queens off the board, I mean, definitely should be a good thing for black. But here just bishop captures on f2 was played. Now just comes this knight captures, queen captures, and e6. Maybe thinking that grabbing a pawn would be good enough, but e6 move is beautiful inclusion here. King to g7 was played, and that threw here black off. And here the thing is that blunders started happening. Here just f5 and just pushing it all the way. G captures on f5, but now just comes to rook to f1 and queen to e3 was played, and you can see the bar shooting up completely because now there are a lot more moves in this position you can play in this position. But here just e captures on f7, and now the position is really winning. But here you could try and go for a draw, or try and go for the best move in this position, which is this queen to e4 check. But the thing is that it's not going to be enough. King to a1, rook to e5, and after this queen caps on b7, you play rook to f. You're trying to capture that, and here after bishop caps on f5, attacking the queen, queen moves, queen captures, knight captures, and here just going for bishop to b1, just going all the way back. And if you go for rook to e7, trying to just hold on to that and maybe try to capture it, here rook to d4 would solve all the problems. And if you go for this captures, the thing is that first I'm going to do and play rook to g4 check, and only once the king goes to h8, I'm going to play rook to h1, and you can say goodbye to this position. Most likely either you're getting checkmated or severe material loss. I don't even have to just capture the knight here hanging beautifully. But the thing is that I'm just interested in checkmating you. Whether you save the piece or not, it's not my concern because I'm after your king. So all of this could have happened, but after e caps on f7, rook to f8 was played, but here just rook to d3 and just queen to e2, king to a1, and here just going for this knight to f6, and now just going for even rook to e3, attacking the queen. Queen to a6 was played, a3 now, and here just going for rook captures on f7, finally grabbing it. But now just comes rook captures on f5, queen to c6, and here just king to a2. And in this position, just rook to d2 was played. Now just comes rook e to f3, and you can see there's immense pressure towards him, and it seems like it's going to be very difficult to be able to try and do anything. Queen to c2 was played, which just adds fire to the fuel, because there's a beautiful move in this position. I'm going to ask you to pause the video and try and find out the only winning move that Anish has in this position, which crumbles the game right on the spot. So have at it. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move. The move is queen captures on f7, sacrificing the queen here, because the thing is that after king captures on f7, here rook captures on f6, and after king to e7, rook to f7 check, king to e8, and now just going for rook to f8 check, king to e7, rook to f7 check, and here after king to d6, rook to d7 check, even king to e5, rook to e8 check, and after king to f6, rook to e6 check was played, king to g5, and rook to g7 check, and after king to h5, here the checkmate did appear on the board with this beautiful bishop to g4 check, and Anish won this game in a spectacular manner.